into the little eliminator. I think we're going to do another mini Schnauzer draft today. At least that's what I'm seeing the chat wants. This is going to be the $3 buy-in, $100,000 prize pool. Very flat scoring, which I like a ton. I mean, you have 10,000 for first, 7,000 for second, 6,000 for third, 5,000 for fourth, 4,000 for fifth, 3,000 for blah, blah, blah. We are going to go ahead. We are going to get in here if anybody wants to draft with us, ladies and gentlemen. And yeah, let's pull this down and get the show on the road. Okay. Hey, we're at pick one. I think we had pick one. I don't know when we had pick one. Did we have pick one yesterday at any point? I'll tell you right now, I think CMC is the 101 in ADP. I am not going to be going McCaffrey just because I really don't like the wide receiver values in rounds like 4 and 5. So I'd honestly I kind of want to be taking running backs in what historically has been the dead zone for RBs, but I think that's kind of changed over the past few years. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take CeeDee Lamb at 1. And Grandpa Giggs, yes, this is 100% true, says, drop a like on the stream or Mason will personally hack your Underdog account and draft Jalen Waddle round 2. I'm going to take it up a notch. If you do not hit that like button, if you do not subscribe, if you play fantasy football, I will personally hack your Underdog account and I will take Jalen Waddle round 1. Okay. Don't you dare test me, ladies and gentlemen. But yes, we are here every day and we are going to go ahead. We are going to take CeeDee Lamb. If you pull up our rankings on flogfantasy.com, you'll see that we do have CeeDee Lamb number 1 overall in our best ball rankings. Now, let's move this. Garrett says, Dang was trying to get in with you and got the number 2 in another draft. Number 2 ain't too bad, my man. Let me know how your draft goes. And no, this is, I mean, it's a redraft / best ball. So it's way more similar to redraft than it is Dynasty. We're just going to be drafting this team for 2024. So best ball, just in case you don't know what it is, you're not submitting your starting lineup from a week-to-week perspective. The best automatic starting lineup submitted for you automatically at the end of every single week. So there's no weekly management during the season. There's no waiver wire. So yeah, if you draft, say, Jalen Hyatt with the last pick in your draft, and all of a sudden he has like a 100-yard receiving touchdown in week 6 that nobody saw coming, then you'd automatically slide into your starting lineup for week 6. But Beardster in here at pick 4. Happy to see you, my friend. Scout says, Mason, which Chiefs receiver is the safest bet to take? I don't know if there is such a thing as a safe Chiefs wide receiver right now, my friend. And that if you are looking at Rashee Rice, God knows what the suspension looks like. If you are looking at Hollywood Brown, this is a wide receiver that has not been good in a long time. And if you are looking at Xavier Worthy, I like him, hook 'em horns, but ultimately he's a rookie. So, I don't know if we can say one's the safest. If Rice didn't have the suspension concerns, I'd say Rashee Rice for sure. Ross Gretz says, are we taking Lance to go with Lamb? Stick to the end, and you'll know the answer to that, my friend. Misa, happy to see you, my friend, says, we back, baby. Run it back. Tim Patrick, last round. Let's pull this up, my friend. Because I'm not going to act like I don't think it's something we can talk about here. I mean, yeah, they take Troy Franklin around 4, but ultimately, I think we can assume even if Jerry Jeudy's not a great receiver, even if he wasn't worth the first round pick in 2020, and he's been someone that's been disappointing over the past few seasons or through his entire NFL career, don't want to sit here and act like Troy Franklin's going to be able to step into the Jeudy role 1-for-1. This offense may be better. But yeah, last time you saw anything for Tim Patrick was 2021. So I don't know if we're going to be able to sit here and act like Tim Patrick has a path to do anything, to be honest, my friend. But Cameron says, my girlfriend says, hey, Mason, I literally just got off the phone with her. I don't know why she's having to send messages through you, my friend. But yeah, I'll call her after the live stream. Don't you worry about it, my friend. Tell her I'll talk to her in a bit and tell her I'm excited for our plans this weekend. I don't know what you're doing, buddy, but Garrett says save his bets, Kelsey. Oh, 100%. Like if you had to go through and just bet raw fantasy points from the Chiefs pass catchers, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to just put, I don't want to say all the chips in the middle for Kelsey, but Kelsey looks like the most likely guy. Here, this draft looks pretty standard. I don't really see any big time surprises. It looks like a super cookie cutter draft so far, at least from what we've seen. I mean, obviously these tournaments have only been open for like 4 days now. Olave 19. Colin says, save some girls for the rest of us. I don't know what I can tell you, Colin, but something about live streaming fantasy football drafts just makes the ladies go wild. I don't know what it is. But yeah, they just love fantasy football, I guess. Jordan says London over Devontae is comical. So I actually was in the same boat as you here, thinking that Davante Adams was going to be the most appealing wide receiver at the top of that tier. I thought that we were going to be taking a lot of Adams, blah, 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 blah. Until we went through and until we ran the historical analysis that I'm going to try something new here. This is going to look gross and I get it, but I want to play around. We want to have some fun. And we are going to be reaching on Sam Laporta here at the 2-3 turn. Tight ends feel gross later in the draft. Let's get a little unique. I think the overlap that you're going to have with Lamb Laporta team is going to be minimal. So we're going to go Laporta at 24 and try to mix things up. But yeah, anyway, I was sitting here thinking, okay, Davante Adams is going to be an easy wide receiver to rank over Drake London, over Brandon Ayuk, over Marvin Harrison Jr. this season. And then we went through and looked at the historical comps. We looked at all wide receivers to have a similar season to Davante Adams, I believe at 31 years old, which Adams was at this past year, or 30. Let me pull this up. Now I can tell you exactly what we're doing, or exactly what we're looking at with these historical comps for Davante Adams. So Davante Adams is a wide receiver that at 31 years old last year, so he finished season at 31. If you look at what he did, which was about 15.5 fantasy points per game off of 10.5 targets, 6.1 receptions, and 68 receiving yards per game. If we look for guys to fit all of these similar metrics at 31, you had Jimmy Smith in the year 2000. You had Hines Ward in 2007, Donald Driver 2006, Eric Moulds 2004, TJ Houshmandzadeh 2008, Roddy White 2012, Santana Moss 2010, Torrey Holt 2007. And if you look at the expected range of outcomes, the median finish for these guys at 32 years old was about 12.5 points per game. The best case scenario was Jimmy Smith the following year in 2001 at 18.5. And you can sit here and go, well, Mason, come on, man. I mean, the Raiders situation was horrendous last season. You can't hold that against Davante Adams. And my thing would be, I agree with you. The Raiders situation was really bad. Davante Adams was put in a situation to fail last season. But I don't necessarily know if that's changed this year. So, yeah. I thought I was going to be all in on like taking Davante Adams early and often at the beginning of round 2 over the rest of the receivers in this tier. And I don't know if we can get behind it at this point. I mean, if you wanted to do it, I'm fine with it. But I'm not going to say taking Drake London over Davante Adams is comical, where I thought that was going to be a similar take that I had before we really started researching for this season in particular. And Greg says, trying to mix things up. Oh, no. Okay, so let me go through and give you all a little insight. I realize we haven't said this over the past few days. Obviously, if you've been following us for years now, you kind of get the gist. But you are going to see me do a bunch of random crap in these $3 drafts because, to be completely honest with you, I am fortunate enough with our sponsorship with Underdog Fantasy, with my point in life, where I can light $3 on fire and it's not really going to impact me at the end of the day. Obviously, it's not the case for everybody, but that's the position that I find myself in. We are going to be getting in a ton of high stakes drafts closer to the start of the season. And honestly, maybe soon. We'll see. Now, we're not going to get in a ton of high stakes drafts soon, but maybe we mix in some soon. So what I do with the puppy drafts, with these like $3 tournaments that Underdog drops, is I treat it as practice. I want to try out some new things. I want to see what I like. I want to see what I don't like. And I want to make a ton of mistakes. So hopefully we know, okay, do not do that when we're in the $500 draft a month from now. Do not do that when we're in the $1,000 draft. I'm willing to light $3 on fire to learn that lesson. Okay. So T. Higgins goes 41. I actually love this tier wide receiver. I know this is probably going to be a bold take, and this is probably a gross take, to be honest with you. But the Devonta Smith, Zay Flowers, T. Higgins range here in round 4, I view these wide receivers very similar to Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Drake London, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins. I think the round 4 wide receivers are similar to the round 2 receivers. And honestly, I think Travis Etienne in round 4 as well is similar to, I have Etienne ranked over Achane. I have Etienne ranked over Henry, over Josh Jacobs. So I don't know. I think after round 1, what at least I am seeing and what I'm experiencing is I think like mid round 2, I would say the tier drops after Jonathan Taylor and Saquon Barkley. But starting like mid round 2 all the way to mid round 4, I think all those players are about the same. I think ADP is probably going to change a lot as we go through this. But let's swing this around. Tank Dell off the board. So wide receiver right now, we have Lamb, Debo. Tight end, we have Sam Laporta. So CJ Stroud goes. I was about to say we weren't going to take Stroud because we didn't take Nico. We didn't take Diggs. We didn't take Dell. I mean, if we wanted Stroud, probably we want him on one of those builds. So I think we are probably going to continue to mix this up. And going back to what we were talking about previously, I want to try new things. I want to experiment and make mistakes or possibly find something that we really like. So we're going to take Keenan Allen here. And my thought process is, if this is a high stakes draft and I just want a well-balanced approach, I want to give us optionality to later on in the draft, I take James Cook. I don't think too much about it. However, I kind of want to mix in a bully tight end strategy with Mark Andrews here to pair up with Laporta. Since we've already reached on Laporta and we're already trying something new here at pick 1, we're going to go with the normal pick of James Cook at 49. And here's something else that you could do if you really wanted to. So a decision that I was considering here at pick 1 to just come up with a really unique roster that nobody else was really going to have, specifically in this tournament that's probably going to close relatively soon, is possibly taking Laporta and Josh Allen at the 2-3 turn. Having Lamb, Laporta, Allen with the ways that their ADPs line up, with Laporta typically being a mid to late 3rd round pick, Josh Allen being a mid to late 3rd round pick. The overlap of Lamb, Laporta, Allen starts going to be really slim. You're not going to see that player combo very often in this tournament. So if you could start off that way and then potentially at the 4-5 turn, if you wanted to go like James Cook, Dalton Kincaid, and go with the Bills onslaught, I think it could be interesting. I think you're probably sacrificing a bit when it comes to the median projection, but I do think that you are walking away with a very unique team if you decide to do that. But we're in round 5, and I forgot to even say this, but just in case you don't know what we're doing, somehow, some way you've stuck it with this live stream so far. These are drafts on Underdog Fantasy. I draft here every single day. I'm not going to stop. I'll be live streaming. If you want to join a draft with us on the live stream, if you want to get in a draft in the public lobby, they're best ball drafts, so no time commitment at all during the season. That's how I draft hundreds of teams every offseason. That's how we won 150,000 on Underdog 2 years ago. And yeah, if you want to hop in a draft with us, you can find that link in the description, in the comment section. Code FLOCK will get you hooked up with a 100% deposit match, plus access to flockfantasy.com, where you can find both our best ball and dynasty rankings, And on top of that, if you use code FLOCK, you're going to get a special NBA pick'em as well. It's going to depend on the night that you sign up. Pretty much whatever the big NBA game is that night, that's what you're going to get. I think Luka Doncic is the one for tonight. Maybe it already passed and you would get a different one tomorrow if you use code FLOCK. But this is where Underdog is available. It's not available in Washington, Nevada, Hawaii, Louisiana, Michigan, and then like one or two other states that I don't know off the top of my head. But I think that should be it. Like I said, link in the description, comment section. But anyway, Scout says, who fills the Josh Reynolds role in Detroit? Is any other wide receiver besides Amon-Ra St. Brown appealing? So I know that some people are excited about Jameson Williams. And if you look at the Jameson ADP, Jameson's more expensive this year than I think he was last. I have really never been a Jameson Williams fan, to be honest with you. If I'm looking at Jameson Williams, this is a wide receiver that wasn't able to get on the field at Ohio State. Now, yes, he competed with Olave, he competed with Garrett Wilson, but he had a transfer so he could see playing time at Alabama. He broke out in his third season there, had a very good year. But if you look at a market share perspective, there are guys that were up there with him. I don't want to say equivalent in production, but pretty damn close. Like John Mechie was up there. It was just such a good Alabama passing offense that the raw numbers look good for Jameson, but the market share numbers, I mean, didn't pop off his third season. So I've never really been a big Jameson guy. I think that Jameson's the perfect example of a wide receiver that could be better from a real life perspective, right? He can stretch NFL defenses. He can take safety attention away. He can create space underneath for Laporta, for Amon-Ra St. Brown. But I don't know if he's going to command a lot of target volume in his own right. I think Jameson helps the Lions offense. I think a ton of target volume gets funneled through Laporta, who we take here at pick 24. Amon-Ra St. Brown, obviously. I have Amon-Ra St. Brown ranked over every running back in fantasy right now, specifically for underdog drafts. And then I think, honestly, Jahmyr Gibbs gets a considerable amount of target volume as well. Okay. Now, let's move this over. Kamara goes 67. So, super balanced start. So far, we have Lamb, Debo, Keenan at wide receiver. Running back, we have James Cook. Tight end, we have Laporta. I don't expect myself to be drafting a lot of Keenan this year, to be honest with you. But let's see what happens. Contact has Mahomes, so you assume they go Hollywood Brown, right? Be very surprised if we see anything else. No, they go Evan Ingram there at 68. Did any news break with Hollywood for us to see that pick? Joe Burrow goes 69. That's going to be to the team that has Jamar Chase. We almost said Mixon as well, but obviously not. Hopefully we get some new pictures for these players soon. I mean, I know Underdog can't do anything about it. We have pictures of players on flockfantasy.com as well, and just updated pictures haven't come out for this year. So we're having to rock with like the same Stephon Diggs and the Bills jersey picture, the same Joe Mixon picture, which looks like he's in Cincinnati. But hopefully that gets, hopefully teams put out updated picks soon. Okay. So Zamir White goes 70. To be honest with you, I'm not really considering Zamir White here. Hollywood Brown off the board. I think we're going to go ahead and take, JSN off the board. I think we're going to go ahead and take Hollywood as well as Jordan Addison. Obviously, I'd be more excited about the Hollywood pick if we had the Mahomes stack. But I still think this is a wide receiver that based off the offense he's playing in, we can get some random spike weeks, blah, blah, blah. And if you're looking at Addison, I was ready to go all in this year. I thought that he was such an exciting option. Obviously, a really strong prospect in last year's draft class. He's a really good rookie season if you consider the fact that Cousins gets injured and what he was able to do. Obviously, takes a massive hit now that you have the uncertainty of J.J. McCarthy under center instead of Kirk Cousins. So I don't exactly know what we should be expecting from the overall passing volume perspective in this offense. It's probably not great, but I don't know. I want to bet on talented wide receivers going into year two. So let's take him at 73. Now let's move this over. Scott says 300 likes and we'll do another draft. Hit that like button. Happy to see you out here with us, my guy. Trevor says, I'm doing a draft currently. I'm first as well. I took CMC, Debo, Nico, Keenan, and James Cook. So very similar builds. So essentially you took you took CMC over Lamb. You took Nico Collins instead of Sam Laporta. And you took nobody else. We had the same pairing of Keenan and James Cook. And that is one thing that I typically want to avoid. If you're picking here at the turn, and keep in mind the overall context of an underdog draft, right? I mean, not only do we have to win this 12-team league get at least top 2 in this 12-team league, but you also have to consider what you're going to have with all the other leagues. And when you get to the fantasy football playoff tournament, so you want to have a unique build. You want to have unique player combos. So if you're picking at one, a lot of times you want to mix in someone that doesn't have an ADP of 47, doesn't have an ADP of 48, doesn't have an ADP of 49. And instead, maybe you want to reach on an option that's going here at the 3-4 turn. Say you reach and you go out and grab someone like, maybe you get the Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts stack to pair with CeeDee Lamb. If all the teams in the tournament only took CeeDee Lamb with picks 1, 2, and 3, and then the vast majority of the teams in the tournament took the Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith stack at 36, 37, 35, 38, 34, 39, 33, 40, 32, 41, 31, 42. The overlap of Lamb with Jalen Hurts, Devonta Smith teams is going to be minimal. So if that's a 3-player combo that all of a sudden, just absolutely smashes in weeks 15, 16, 17, you can be leveraged against the rest of the field in a way that you're able to capitalize on upside that not many others are. Now, with that being said, obviously you can go out there and you can possibly sacrifice some of the median projection with it. Maybe you draft what on paper looks to be a slightly worse team because you reach on those different ADPs there. But all in all, with the context of the tournament, it may not be a bad thing. I will warn you, it's going to be different to do that in Best Ball Mania drafts than like a little Schnauzer draft. Because this little Schnauzer draft, this tournament's open for maybe like a week, right? So the ADPs, while they're changing rapidly now compared to what we're going to see in June, it's still, a lot of the boards are going to look very similar, where through the entire course of the offseason with Best Ball Mania, the ADPs are going to move dramatically. Boards are going to move a ton. So I'm not necessarily thinking too much in Best Ball Mania terms about going out there if you're at pick 1 or if you're at pick 12, maybe reaching on player combos that go on the other side of the board. That way you can have a little bit of a unique build. Anthony says, do we submit our roster via Discord or the Flock site? So if you have signed up for flockfantasy.com within the last week or maybe 2 weeks at this point, submit your roster through flockfantasy.com. If you're an older member, you're not going to have a voucher on the site, so you're going to submit it through Discord. And also, if you don't have a sleeper league, you're going to have to go through Discord. So if you play on MFL for your Dynasty League, submit your team through the Discord. But if you signed up with an annual Mother Flocker package over the past week or two, go to the site, try to submit. If you're having any issues, please shoot me a DM on Discord, my friend. I'd be happy to help you out. Okay. So Christian Watson off the board at pick 89. Raheem Mostert goes 90. We're sitting here with only one running back. I'm not stressing too much about it, though, with James Cook. I'm actually really excited about Cook this next season. Okay. Couple different fun things that I think we can do here. So far, tight end, we have Laporta. Running back, we have James Cook. Wide receiver, we have CeeDee Lamb, Deebo Samuel, Keenan Allen, Hollywood Brown, and Jordan Addison. Okay, I don't... This team goes Jordan Love, which is interesting because they don't have any Packers. I was expecting them to possibly take Caleb to stack with DJ Moore. So what we're going to do here is we're going to double tap the quarterback position with both Dak Prescott as well as Caleb Williams. I think that Caleb Williams ADP may actually fall a bit from where it currently is. I think we are reaching and maybe paying a premium based off the rookie hype that we have with the NFL draft just happening. But what I like about taking both quarterbacks at this pick is I think we are in a spot where if we take Dak and Caleb, we're getting the stack with CeeDee Lamb, we're getting the stack with Keenan Allen, and we are only having to draft two quarterbacks in this tournament. We're not having to take the third. So if we go with Dak and Caleb, I think we put ourselves in the position where we take two quarterbacks, potentially three tight ends if we wait to grab two tight ends later on. And yeah, maybe it helps us out a little bit from a roster construction perspective. While I'm not in love with any of the receivers or running backs here. But yeah, looking at this team, we have Caleb, Debo, Keenan, Hollywood, Addison at wide receiver. Tight end, we have Sam Laporta. Running back, we have James Cook. And then quarterback, we have Dak Prescott, Caleb Williams. So definitely a zero RB builds, at least way more zero RB than what we are typically doing here. But Jindy says a 32 team PBR, 4 flex, 1 super flex, won the championship. On my roster, we have St. Brown, Smith, Tank, Kyron. Oh, this is a phenomenal team in a 32 team league. I'm going to trade Otten, Devonta Smith, and Kyron for Marvin Harrison Jr. So let me do some simple math here. So this is going to be a start 5 32 team league. So they're going to be 160 starters across the entire format. If you're looking at 160 for a 12 team league, this is like a start 13, 14 in a 12 team format. So the depth matters a ton in this league. If it was a 12 team format, I mean, if it was like a regular 12 team start 10 league, I am trading Devonta Smith, Kyron, and Cade Otton for Marvin Harrison Jr. in a heartbeat. In that league, it's a lot tougher. Because, I mean, the thing is with this team, you can run it back this next season. And I think if you trade Kyron and Devonta Smith to go get Marvin, maybe it helps you in the long term, but I don't know if you're going to be a contender this year again. So, I don't know, my friend. I think it's kind of up to you there. I don't have enough experience in 32 team leagues to really be able to help you out is the honest answer of it. Okay. So we have Trey Benson, Javonte, Jonathan Brooks all going. So obviously when we're sitting here with only James Cook, we are really hoping that we get some running backs that we like making it back to us now. I would have been super excited to get any of these running backs that went around 9 if we could have got them at pick 120. Obviously it's unrealistic though to assume that that was going to happen. But I do want to reiterate what we've been talking about as of late. I really hate the wide receiver values that you're looking at here in rounds like 8 and 9. Maybe it changes a little bit when we've had so many running backs and quarterbacks go off the board in these 2 rounds. But I really don't want to be the guy having to take Curtis Samuel at pick 98. I really don't want to have to take Mike Williams over Trey Benson, Javonte Williams, Jonathan Brooks, Austin Eckler, right? I kind of want to put ourselves in the position where we can be the team taking Trey Benson 105. We can take Javonte 106. We can take Jonathan Brooks 107. We can take Nick Chubb 101. Which I find myself a lot of times taking too many guys that look like James Cook, Rachaad White, Kenneth Walker, Isaiah Pacheco, and then kind of boxing ourselves out of this tier. Raphael says, I don't even know 32 people. I can't imagine being I am already a horrendous commissioner to the point where, I mean, anybody that puts up with me being a commissioner, all I have to say, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, I truly do. Thank you. I am very sorry. I wish I was a better commissioner. I wish I had more time. I wish I could dedicate more resources. I wish I was a better commissioner in my 12 team leagues. To be a commissioner of a 32 team league, oh dear God, that would terrify me. If Brock Purdy makes it to us at 120, I will say our decision to take Caleb Williams where we did was a very bad pick. Yeah. If Brock Purdy makes it to 120, we made a mistake in drafting Caleb Williams where we did. Because, I mean, the cat's out of the bag. Probably shouldn't say this out loud on the live stream. It's probably going to hurt us. But we can't draft quarterbacks once. I mean, maybe we take a quarterback at the very end. Maybe we can take a quarterback around like 17, 18. But we're definitely not going to be able to take a quarterback here around 10 or 11 with us taking Dak, Caleb where we did. So, yeah, even if Purdy falls and we potentially get the Purdy Debo stack, we can't do that, which, like I said, we probably shouldn't say that out loud. Probably hurts us, but it's a $3 draft, so I'm Okay. If we screw ourselves. Okay. So Tajay Spears off the board. So if you're looking at best available here, I think that we are kind of done at running back. I mean, there's no running back we can reasonably take at this point. I'm not taking Blake Corum, pick 120. So we're going to go A.D. Mitchell, a prospect that I honestly really didn't like, but it is what it is. Any player falls 20 picks past ADP. Rookie that has upside in weeks 15, 16, 17. Let's just go ahead, plug our nose, take him. And we are going to take TJ Hawkinson. Love the player. The situation's a question mark with JJ McCarthy. But if this team wants to turn $3 into $10,000, our earlier draft picks probably have to have hit, right? And we already took Jordan Addison, so we already essentially made that bet that maybe JJ McCarthy works out. Maybe this is a decent spot overall. So we're going to take TJ Hawkinson, get the correlation in with Jordan Addison, make the one consolidated bet that this Minnesota offense is better than people expect. And now we are going to send up a prayer to the high heavens that a few running backs make it back to us. But this may be a very, very rare build. This is a treat for y'all, ladies and gentlemen. And this will be one of the very few teams that you may see us go 2-7-7-2. Typically, it's a build that I'm not excited to go with. I'm never planning on drafting only 2 quarterbacks, then 7 running backs, 7 receivers, and I don't know. I just think that's kind of the way the draft's fallen. We're extremely strong at wide receiver. We have Lamb, we have Debo, we have Keenan, we have Hollywood, we have Addison, we have A.D. Mitchell. To tight end, we have Laporta and Hawkinson. I think we only have to draft 2 tight ends on this build. Quarterback, we have Dak, Caleb. I think we only have to draft 2 QBs. So, yeah, I think we fire up the 7 running backs and see what this team looks like. But never really a build that. I mean, maybe we go 6 RBs, 8 wide receivers. Maybe we go 6 RBs, 7 receivers, and 3 tight ends. We will leave that last spot as like an optional. If we get really strong running back values in rounds 12, 13, 14, 15, then maybe we go ahead and maybe we pull the trigger on running back. Okay. Cole Kmet goes 133. So obviously what we're wanting to see at this point is we are wanting to see quarterbacks. We are wanting to see tight ends go. And I do want to reiterate, now that we know that Brock Purdy made it to the 10-11 turn for us, what would have been a significantly better move, which of course we didn't know this at the time, but now you know, is if we would have taken Nick Chubb instead of Caleb Williams and then took Brock Purdy at 120 instead of A.D. Mitchell. It would have been a more balanced approach. We still could have got away with only drafting 2 quarterbacks. We had Dak stacked with Lamb, Purdy stacked with Debo. But it is what it is. You live and you learn. You'll live and you learn. Okay. Beefy Bitcoin. Happy to see I feel like a long time no see. And dear God, we are getting the fake accounts out here. We got one fake Mason Dodd account, Mason for President 2024. This country would last 3 months. I would find a way to burn it to the ground. Not intentionally. I would try to do the best job I could. But I can't even draft a fantasy football team, my friend. I don't know if running the country would work out for me. And then we got another fake account with me looking like, I don't know, like I'm going to cry. Maybe this is the face that I made whenever, I don't know. Lance got dealt for a 4th round draft pick or a 6th round draft pick. God, a day 3 pick. That's all I know. Okay. Now, let's move this back over. Stafford off the board, 139. So we are pretty much looking running back, wide receiver here at the turn. I don't want to say too much. I don't want to influence anything by talking here. So we're just going to let the teams in front of us do what they got to do. Jerome Ford, 141. Brandon Cooks, 140. Stafford. Josh Downs goes 142. Downs would have been an interesting pick if we wanted a wide receiver. Since we did decide to take A.D. Mitchell, we could have gone A.D. Mitchell and Downs, make the bet that maybe Indy's a better offense and people are expecting that maybe Michael Pittman went down. So, God dang, what the hell am I supposed to do at this point? I don't want to take Rico Dowdle. I don't want to take Jalen Wright. Jalen Wright is the third running back in his offense. Chuba Hubbard's in a possibly in a 3-man committee in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Oh, take Leggett. Okay. We're going to take Leggett with our 7th wide receiver slot. This $3 has successfully been lit on fire. And from here on out, we're only drafting running backs, ladies and gentlemen. So let me know. What do you want? Do you want Jalen Wright or Rico Dowdle? Or I'll throw you all a bone. I'll throw Chuba Hubbard in here as well. Spam the chat. What are you wanting? We may end up going Rico Dowdle as default option here. Okay. We had 1 vote, Rico, Wright, Rico, Hubbard, Rico, Chandler, Chuba, Chandler. So it looks like it's all over the board. Ty Chandler's also. I don't want to say like, oh, I'm not interested in any of these. I'm not interested in this player. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in any of these guys, to be honest with you. But oof. Challenge. Mason draft a well-balanced fantasy football team. Difficulty. Impossible. Okay, real quick, I had to respond to an email, ladies and gentlemen, but God, I feel like we got a lot going on right now from a business perspective. Just having to talk to a bunch of different people. Okay, so Chuba Hubbard goes 152. Now, at this point, any green that we see on this draft screen, any running back that gets drafted is a kick in the nuts. I'll tell you that much. Jake says, 10-team Superflex, would you trade Caleb, the 112, 204, and a future second for Chase, Addison, and Goff? Caleb to Chase, honestly, at this point, I think somewhat of a lateral move. The 12th pick, you're looking at like the Keon Coleman range. Keon versus Addison. I'd probably take Addison, to be honest with you. I'm a little bit higher on Addison than most. And then the future second versus Goff, I'm probably going to go Goff. So I'd probably go Chase, Addison, and Goff there. Have Burrows and Aaron Rodgers, but desperate a wide receiver. Have good feeling about Caleb. I mean, Caleb, I think, is going to be great. Like, if you look at the situation that Caleb's stepping into, a spot where he has DJ Moore drafted at 26, Keenan Allen drafted at 48, and Roma Dunze drafted at 59. Like, people are rightfully excited about the Chicago Bears offense. Isaac says, do another draft after this. Yes, we will get another draft going if we hit 300 likes on the stream, my friend. Sweet Rygas is the anti-TN bias, the real UT. Okay. I don't want to go down this road, but I don't even know how someone could potentially say that Tennessee is the quote unquote real UT? I don't even know. Hell, that could potentially be a thing. Okay. And we're going to talk about something real quick that's actually pretty important for this live stream, but let me make my next two picks. And this is a rule that we had 2 years ago that we haven't really, I mean, not 2 years ago, 4 years ago. We had this rule in 2020. We really haven't had to talk about it too much since then. But it's going to be a very important rule for the live stream this next season. And we're going to need everybody to understand and everybody to come to the same conclusion, which is the correct one, by the way. And I think I'm wrong about a lot of things. I'm pretty sure I'm right about this one. Okay. But Adam Thielen off the board at 164. Jenny says the rule is your profile pick has to be Mace. Okay, yeah. Cat's out of the bag already. If your profile pick is not a screenshot of me talking, then you'll be muted. Obviously, that's not true. For the love of God, do not screenshot and make it. Please do not do that. Marvin Mims off 165. Juwan Johnson off 166. Okay, so RJ goes. This is the team that took Charbonnet from us. So he at least throws us a bone and at least leaves us with two running backs here. We're going to go Marshawn Lloyd, Antonio Gibson. I think possibly make the argument. I'm sorry. We're going to go Marshawn Lloyd, ADP of 153. Gets decent draft capital. Clearly just a handcuff back to Josh Jacobs, though. Spam the chat. Do you want Gibson or Tyler Algier? I think Algier has higher ceiling than Gibson, but the thing is this team needs running back touches so bad. And Gibson may have a week-to-week role. I don't expect Algier to really have a role here with Bijan Robinson in town. But Gibson, maybe it's an ambiguous backfield where we don't really know what to expect with Ramadre. Looks like the chat, though, wants Algier. We got Algier, Gibson. So we'll go ahead. We'll take Algier. Okay. So now we have a couple of handcuff. We have a couple backup running backs on the team, at least. So as if it does anything. Okay. Now, obviously, this message was not super political. The only reason I'm using it is because I need to make a statement here. Okay. Mason Dodd, this was not me. Okay. I swear to God. Says, I'm not trying to spam, but Mason, can you please replace Sleepy Joe in the office? So now that we have the election coming up, the rule that we have for this live stream, it's always a rule, but I guess it's really only important every 4 years, is we all need to understand that people come to these live streams, people come to talk about fantasy football and not politics. There are a million places, if that's your thing, that you can go and have that discussion. Doesn't matter what the political view is. This is a safe space. I'm pretty sure nobody here wants to hear it. And yeah, so I know it's probably going to be more relevant as we get later in the year, but I just want to make sure everybody here right now knows, because I mean, y'all are the ones hanging out with me every single day in May, that we're just putting it down. There are a lot of places, if you are really interested in politics and you really want to talk about it, that you can go, you can have that conversation, you can find your group, but this is a place where we are here to talk fantasy football, Trey Lance, and ladies really liking this channel. Those are the three things. Okay. And yes, Radius says, I come here to escape politics. I think that's 99% of people that come here. So, Lionel, are you kidding me, my friend? Are you kidding me? New pick. Oh, okay, dear God. I think... I don't know. I don't know what we're going to have to... There's no way, I mean, I can do anything about it, but... Beans out. Are you freaking kidding me now? Brandon says, my free speech can't be limited. Josh Downs is underrated this year at wide receiver. You cannot silence me. I think Downs, from like a regular fantasy football perspective, may be a little more exciting if it's like a full PPR format. someone that can soak up targets close to the line of scrimmage. I don't know if he has like the big playability for, I don't know. I don't know if he has the big playability to make him really appealing in best ball. So I don't know. I like Downs. I actually drafted a ton of Downs last year. Y'all know last year we were hiding our 18th round picks from y'all so we could hopefully get someone at low ownership. Hopefully we could stack a player up, and they turned out to be a top 5 wide receiver in fantasy. They turned out to be a top 5 running back in fantasy. And I didn't want everybody following us with who we were taking in round 18. Who I was taking? I was taking a lot of Josh Downs. I was taking a lot of Wan'Dale Robinson. And I was taking 0 of Puka. I was taking 0 of Kyron Williams. And we paid the price for it. So, yeah, I liked Downs a lot last year. A 142 this year, I don't know. I don't act like it's a bad pick. Xavier Legette has less competition in his offense. Downs, Anthony Richardson's a better quarterback than Bryce Young, but Anthony Richardson may take a lot of the rushing volume in this offense, and the passing volume may not necessarily be there. So, I don't know. I mean, if we're looking at wide receivers in round 12, 13, I don't know if Downs is my guy, because I think he's like, at best, the wide receiver 2 in a low volume passing attack. At worst, he's the wide receiver 3 in a low volume passing attack. Now, if we really wanted to mix it up here, and we believed maybe Bijan Robinson goes down, Tyler Algier turns into a league winner, and we're actually okay at running back 1% of the time. Maybe that happens. Who knows? Maybe we want to take McCarthy and get the double stack of Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson while we're at it and take 3 quarterbacks and only 6 running backs. I think that is an option for us. I don't think an option to take a tight ends. I don't know if an option is take a receiver. Obviously, if we were to take, we have to take 6 running backs no matter what. The optionality that we have is maybe that 7th spot, we can go with an extra quarterback. I don't even think we can go with an extra wide receiver, to be honest with you, with how strong our wide receiver core is. Okay. Wan'Dale goes 190. And yeah, I mean, now, even if we were looking at any receivers, Malik Washington is like the only guy there. Damian Pierce off the board. I'm going to be excited to take Roshan Johnson. I mean, hook 'em horns. DeAndre Swift wasn't good in a very good offense last year. Now, I do want to say DeAndre Swift's the starting running back for this team. They pay DeAndre Swift. But we already make the bet on the Bears offense. We have Caleb. We have Keenan. Bring in Roshan. I think he splits the backfield with Swift. This team clearly hates Khalil Herbert. Keaton Mitchell, I have no interest in, to be honest with you. I'm probably not going to draft Keaton Mitchell at all this year. At all. So if we're doing that, maybe we take another backup here. We take the backup to Breece Hall. The issue is they take 2 running backs in this draft, right? So you can take Braylon Allen, and even if Breece Hall goes down, Braylon Allen's probably in a running back by committee there in New York. Did Elijah Mitchell even touch the ball last year? Elijah Mitchell was someone I was actually drafting for God knows what reason. We're going to take Elijah Mitchell and send up a prayer. I mean, we have Debo. Maybe we'll make the argument, we're betting on the Giants side. The Niners offense, obviously. I don't think that really matters too much here. Okay. But, yeah, let's show off this team real quick. At wide receiver, we have Lamb, Debo, Keenan, Hollywood, Addison, A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Legette. Tight end, we have Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson. Quarterback, we have Dak, Caleb Williams. I don't want to say this last position, but it is what it is. Running back, we have James Cook. For the love of God, somehow turn into a top 5 RB, please. Rico Dowdle, someone I didn't know who he was 2 years ago. Marshawn Lloyd, someone else I didn't know who he was 2 years ago. Tyler Algier, the backup running back for one of the best RBs in the NFL. Roschon Johnson, backup running back that didn't do anything last year. Elijah Mitchell, another backup running back that didn't do anything last year. So, yeah, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let me see if we have any shot, if we're closing it on 300 likes. Okay, looks like we do not have a shot for 300 likes. We're like 70 away. So we are probably going to cut this draft here. Appreciate you sticking with us. We got 2 drafts in last night. I guess only 1 draft here tonight. And yes, please don't be mad with us. I promise you I'm going to be streaming pretty much every single day. So honestly, I kind of only want to do just 1 draft. We have some podcasts we need to make for flockfantasy.com as well. So we're going to save some of our energy. We'll get another draft going for y'all tomorrow night. And of course, you want to get in our next draft, you can find it on, God knows, Underdog Fantasy. Links in the description, links in the comment section. Use code FLOCK, get a 100% deposit match, plus get our Dynasty rankings, our best ball rankings on flockfantasy.com. And if you use code FLOCK on Underdog, you will also get hooked up with a special NBA pick'em. I think tonight's was Luka Doncic for more than less than half a total point if you use code FLOCK. If you do this another night, it's going to be higher, lower, half a total point for whatever NBA player plays that night. So, I mean, an offer that if you use code FLOCK, you're always going to get it for the first time that you sign up. Just depends on the day. But thank you again. Appreciate you. Hope you enjoyed it. And I hope I get to see you tomorrow in the live draft.